Today, we're going to do part 2 of our UAAP preseason preview. We're going to talk about NU, UE, UP, and UST. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gab Lim, and Maui Yap. What's up, guys?
What's up? Sobrang hype pa rin ako from the Sunday Ateneo
Oo nga
Lasal
feel ko.
game. I want more! Give me more! Please!
Congrats to Asia Basket.
Have some more!
Shouts
For
to
that-
Asia Basket.
For
The
that
fact
thriller.
that they did it sa Moro Lorenzo pa no? Sa home court ng Ateneo. That made it even more exciting and spicy. But for today, we're going to talk about part 2 of our what to watch for each UAAP team in the preseason episode. First, part 1, if you haven't seen that, you can watch that in our previous episode. We talked about the first 4 teams there. So for today, we'll cover the next 4 teams. So that's NU, UE, UP, UST. Let's get started with NU. Let's start with you, Maui Yap.
I think yung biggest question ng NU is, kung ano yung question last off-season pa rin, who will be their FSA? Diba? We've seen si Omar John has been suiting up for them, I think, in preseason
He looks
tournaments.
dominant dun sa mga preseason games so far, di ba?
Puro player of the game.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to Mo Diazana. Wala pang news on Collins Akowe. Saan pupunta si Collins Akowe? The juniors finals just ended with NU losing. It's gonna be interesting to see how this develops. Diba? Kasi ako personally, sorry to our friend Omar Jan, but I think their ceiling is a lot lower if they choose to go that route. If they choose to go with Omar Jan. Or maybe he surprises us with one whole season out, baka may bago kay Omar Jan. Baka he will look more dominant. He's been, as Sam mentioned, been player of the game in multiple games this offseason. Baka kailangan lang that he has a chip on his shoulder for him to perform this offseason or in the UAAP season for that matter, which is the one that really matters. Interesting to see rin yung recruits nila kasi NU has been in the news cycle, di ba? I think more so than the other teams the past few weeks. It looks like they are going all in for next season, and that's a welcome development, di ba? Kasi we've been tracking NU the past few seasons, and all we've been saying is, will they be able to take the next step and become a UAAP championship contender, not just a Final Four contender? I would, if I were Coach Jeff, I would tell the team to forget about last season and be prepared. Condition yourself. Try to avoid injuries. I think they have a chance. If there was a season that they had the chance, probably this is the biggest one. Diba? With teams like Lasal retooling their lineup, teams like UP who lost some key pieces, and NU basically having mostly their star players, their core players. Diba? I expect a big year from Jolo Manansala, a big year from I forgot the name.
Jake Figueroa?
Jake Figueroa, yes. I forgot the name, my boy, Jake Figueroa. I think it's his time to both these guys. It's one of their final seasons. They will have to step up and really bolster their chances to go pro, whether it be abroad or here. And I think lastly, yung point guard rotation, diba? I think they have 3 players to choose from. Who will be the one to take the helm? I don't think that you should have a 3-point guard rotation, maybe 2 at best. So there will be an odd man out. I think Humamoy has to step up. This is gonna be his 3rd season, and he's older, diba, than most 3rd-year players. So the expectations are not as high as it was in previous seasons kasi medyo disappointing so far. I want to see some consistency from Humamoy. I think that's what Steve Nash brings to the table, yung consistency and yung edge. And Tebol Garcia, I think yung wild card is Tebol Garcia. I wouldn't be surprised if he suddenly skyrockets and become the point guard number 1 just because of his steadiness. And let's see what happens. I think NU has all the tools and pieces to compete for season 88. It will be interesting to see how the rotation plays out this offseason.
Yeah,
Yep.
NU for me is one of the more interesting teams in the off season because last season, yeah, they lost Mo Diazana. Essentially, that derailed their entire campaign. No, they were supposed to be perhaps one of the challengers to UP and LaSalle to make it to the finals. We all know that they had the talent, but it was kind of a lost season. It's kind of because they played a little bit of upset kings ng bandang dulo. If you guys remember, they did beat UP, they did beat LaSalle during the end of the
The only
season.
team to beat both UP and
Yes, the
LaSalle.
only team to beat both teams in season 87. So you could see that there's definitely talent there. However, for season 88, this is, I would say, the last chance of this current window because marami sa kanilang main core guys ay mag-graduate na. You talk about Steve Nash Enriquez, Jolo Manansala, Jake Figueroa. I think si PJ is in his 4th season already. Yung my boy, PJ Palacielo. So that core group of guys which started in season 84 and 85, patapos na. So ito na yung siguro yung last gasp nila for a chance to make it to the finals and even contend for a championship. No? So I think we already know what we're gonna get from those guys: Jake Figueroa, Jolo Manansala, Steve Nash Enriquez. I think it's unless may sudden improvement in outside shooting yung si Jolo and si Jake, sana, but I doubt it. I think we know already what they are as players. So what I'm additionally watching in the offseason for NU is the younger guys. Maui, you mentioned si Tebol Garcia and Reinhardo Mamoy. I hope that they get a semblance of consistency both in their play and in their minutes. Because I mentioned this many times last season. Ang hirap na hindi mo alam na kung ano yung consistent role mo, kung ano yung consistent rotation minutes makita mo from game to game just because Coach Jeff Napa has wildly different minute splits from game to game. Diba? We've seen this before in multiple seasons. He goes with a very deep rotation. Whoever has the hot hand or whoever's playing well, that's who he gives minutes to. So, konting mistake, you're out. And probably you're going to ride the bench for a long stretch in the game. That's how Coach Jeff Napa likes to run things. But if they want to contend beyond this season, and we've seen them start to recruit beyond season 88 already, I think you have to give more of developmental time and time on the court for guys like Justin Garcia and Reinhard Dumawan because we've seen the talent. We all know that the two of those guys are pretty good. We've seen flashes in multiple games in season 87 that these two guys are good. We know who Steve Nash is already. Plus, I'm watching the other guys, the recruits from the past season. Jello Santiago, Vince Reyes, who didn't suit up yung last season. Paulo Francisco, who was the guy that they recruited from the juniors? Si Miguel
Palangka.
Yeah, and I'm watching those guys. If they can get si Mac Alfanta, if he's eligible, I think he is. Yeah, si Mac
Mukhang mama
Alfanta.
na yun eh.
He looks old, but he's just a high school graduate. So yeah, I'm watching the future because it's time for a new phase in NU's developmental timeline. Again, sabi ko nga, mawawala na yung old regime and papasok na yung mga bago. So how are they gonna transition from that old core to a new core? That's something to watch for. It's an interesting transition period for the NU Bulldogs. And tama si Maui. I didn't want to say it, but it has to be a topic again. The FSA slot's gonna be a topic for the NU Bulldogs.
Hindi pa natin alam eh kasi wala pa din si Akowe, hindi pa siya nagko-commit to NU, di ba? So
hindi pa nagko-commit si Collins Akowe. Omar John has been playing well. He gave Montel Shelton the business in their last game.
Yeah.
Just if
He
there's
dominated Shelton.
if there's ever a reason for Coach Sean Chambers to choose Mo Konate over Montel Shelton is that Omar John cooked yung Montel Shelton. So yeah, I think Mo Konate is the way to go. But yeah, Omar John has been playing well. He looks huge. His shoulders look
Parang lumaki
bigger.
nga eh. Yeah.
Yep. So tama si Maui. Maybe there's a chip on his shoulder to prove himself. That the fact that they chose Mo Diasanay over him in season 87, perhaps we'll see a better Omar John. I don't
Run
know.
it back pala eh, no? Run it back!
Malay mo, Maui. Malay mo, he'll give Mo Konate a run and Precious Momoe a run for best FSA. Slightly stupid award in my opinion, but baka. But that's something to watch for the NU Bulldogs. There are young guys mixed with a ton of vets. So parang sila yung Golden State Warriors in the past couple of seasons. They have two timelines going. So how are they gonna manage that?
Maganda yun. The two timeline
Tumatawa
team.
ka.
That's perfect.
Tumatawa ka sa amin, diba?
Ganda nun.
Yeah,
I love that.
Because that's it.
Yeah,
They have
I
old
agree.
guys gunning for a championship, but they also have a ton of young guys who are looking to develop and establish their place in the seniors division. So how is Coach Jeff Napa yung gonna balance that? Because at some point he has to look to the young guys. Kasi kung walang development yung young guys, pagdating ng season 89, they're probably not gonna be in the Final Four kung sobrang inconsistent ng mga bata nila. So let's see. Very interesting team. They do have the talent to challenge for the Final Four and even make it to the finals. This team is the same team as last year. Halos the same team as last year, diba? I don't think they lost much, diba? So obviously si Patrick Yu lang ata. I think si Pat Yu was one of the guys that they lost. But mostly their lineup is intact. So last year we called them a possible contender. There's no reason to think otherwise for this upcoming season. Sammy.
1000% agree with both of you guys. Actually, yung both points nyo I listed down. So, the number one, again, the question is, what should you watch out for during the preseason, diba? So, I think the number one is the FSA of NU, diba? Omar John has been excellent. He's been dominant so far sa Asia Basket. But, the elephant in the room is Collins Akowe is graduating high school. So, we assume he's going to NU. You never know, but the assumption is he's going to NU. There's a lot of hype behind Collins Akowe. So, unfortunately, they can only choose one FSA. So, the whole preseason, we're going to be on FSA watch for NU. Nothing against Omar John. He's been really good. He's been solid for the team. Pero we can't help it kasi isa lang yung FSA but there are 3 really good FSAs for NU. Modia Sana, Omar John, and possibly Collins Akowe. So, something that we have to watch out for. Ganun lang talaga, diba? But the second one is, you guys mentioned it, the young guys. We know it's the preseason, so probably, first of all, sabi mo nga, Agab, si Coach Jeff Napa has a short leash. We know that, especially for younger guys. But since it's the preseason, we're hoping Coach Jeff Napa will let the younger guys play some more. Will be a bit more loose dun sa younger guys because they do have a lot of younger guys and they need to get the reps in kasi a lot of the guys are graduating this season. Kaya ang ganda nung sinabi mo, 2 timeline team. This is the Golden State Warriors. I'm excited to see the development of guys like Tebol Garcia, and the influx of new recruits. Marami pa, like si Miguel Palanca, hopefully Collins Akowe for NU. May Phil Canadian pa, 'di ba? May shinare kayo recently.
Si Laconsay. Yeah.
Yon, yeah, whatever. I'm not sure kung how he plays, but they do have a lot of recruits. So that's something to look forward to for NU. And hopefully we get to see them. Kasi we're talking about preseason. Coach Jeff Napa, this is the preseason. Please, let the young guys play. Let Reinhard Humamoy play solid minutes. Come on, man. It's the preseason. Anyway, moving forward. Let's talk about the UAA Red Warriors na we've talked about a lot because of the coaching changes, the rumors na baka umalis yung mga core players nila, and it looks like they're staying. So, what are you looking forward to this, or what are you watching out for this preseason for the UA Red Warriors? Let's start with you, Gab.
It's how Precious Momaway plays. It's how Coach Chris Cavina is gonna use Precious Momaway. I've seen a couple of their games already. I think they played in the Pinoy Liga International Invitational. I forgot.
Yeah.
But they faced off against
Against
UST
UST. Yeah.
the the other day. Very interesting game. We didn't talk about it much because we were pretty hyped from the Ateneo Lasal game and during the week during the weekend. But it was a good game between USE and UE. We saw a lot of John Abate at the wing, and we saw a lot of Precious Mawaway getting the ball. They're still running a lot of isolations for Precious. Again, much like last season, hasn't been the best way to run your offense. Precious is a bit inefficient. Let's just say I do think he needs someone to give him the ball and in spots. Similar to how Noiri Mogati used to do. Give Precious Momaway the ball in spots where he can easily score. I don't think he's the type of guy that can get his shot for now. But I am watching that. It seems like Chris Gavina is trying to develop that part in his game. I think he did mention it in one of his interviews that si Precious wants to make it to the Euro League and he wants to develop Precious. So maybe this is the time that he's giving Precious the time to make adjustments, to make mistakes, to figure out how he wants to play one-on-one. Diba? I think si Precious wants that. He definitely wants to put up numbers. And he has a talent. I mean, he low-key had a pretty disappointing season 87, if I'm being honest. I think we all had him as our top FSA, but towards the end of the season, he was like, what, number 2, number 3? There was Mo Konate, and I think there was one other who we had above as Mo Tongkara.
The other Mo.
The other Mo who played better than Precious. So I am watching how Precious develops the other parts of his game because he's gonna be the guy in UE. As long as he stays there, he's gonna have the ball in his hands, gonna have a ton of future. The other part is how he uses his guard rotation. They have a lot of talented wings and guards, and I think they're gonna remain intact. No, I talked about yung Rainier Maga as my surprise number 5 in top wings for season 88. Surprised a lot of people, including the two of you. He's playing more point guard now. So mukhang yung transition niya from wing last season in the first round to point guard is actually coming into fruition. He's playing more point guard. Si John Abate is playing more off guard, playing more as a scorer yung rather than a point guard. So mukhang we'll see that sort of lineup for season 88. No? Si Rainier Maga ang point guard. Si Nico Muling Tapang, I think, is gonna back him up for majority of the games. Si Hunter Cruz Dumont, I'm interested if he's what type of game he has because honestly he had pretty limited run for season 87. Actually,
may isa pa, diba? May isa pang Cruz Dumont.
Si Cole Cruz Dumont.
Cole.
So, I'm interested. And something also to watch and very important is their backup bigs because last season Precious Momaway had games where he did not sub out. Devin Fikes had games where he did not sub out. So that's their front court. They legit have no one to back them up. Si Thirdy Malaga, I think he's like a foul machine. I think that's his role. I don't think he's shown any upside, or whether defensively or offensively. He just fouls for majority of his time on the floor. So I don't know if he's the answer to their bench front court. Wala eh. It's just really just Precious Momoway and Devin Fike. Si Ron Gigo has shown flashes of maybe having a mid-range game, but minutes are very low and no flashes whatsoever. So I'm interested to watch that in the preseason. How is this gonna be like FEU for last season? Just the main core guys playing 35 to 40 minutes a game, which to be honest is not that sustainable. Just as FEU, they peak with their five guys and their five guys grow tired. So the bench is gonna be pretty important, especially that front court. Let's see if Coach Chris Gavina can bring in more guys to back up Precious Momoway and Devin Fikes. Devin Fikes, low-key one of the better power forwards out there. Maybe we'll see him in our next top 5 lists from
Si
Polo
Rui.
Gab.
Ikaw
Si
nga
Rui
ni Rui.
Hachimura.
Si Rui.
Look. Ay, panalo Lakers kanina.
Panalo Lakers. Panalo Lakers.
Maui,
Let's go Lakers,
what do you
Maui.
think of the UE Red Warriors?
Yeah, I think you mentioned most of it. Really, yung rotation, how it will play out with Coach Chris, and I don't know how yung playing style nila. Will it change or will it be free flow, 3-point shooting? I hope they utilize kasi Momoway better. Diba? Kasi I think they should not give the ball to Momoway at the top of the key. As you mentioned, Gab, they should utilize him in the post or as a roll man. I think yun yung main strength niya, which is it was really evident that Remogat enabled also si Momoway, yung play ni Momoway. He really struggled last season and was disappeared in some games, diba? I think I mentioned this to you guys last season. Nakakagulat if you look at the box score and you see Momoway below 10 points, below 10 attempts, and below 10 free throws. Diba? It's weird kasi diba? It's weird kasi we all expected him to carry a huge load and usage come season 87 and that did not pan out. You saw a lot of games where he disappeared. You saw a lot of games where he had so many turnovers, so many forced shots. Such an inefficient season for Momoway. And if you see Coach Chris is really gonna bank on his promise to Momoway to bring him to the EuroLeague, then they will have to find a way to better utilize him or develop him in ways that they can utilize him, diba? It was such a disappointing season for me, yung kay Momoway, despite UE surprising all of us. And I think it really had a big part on why they couldn't turn around their season when things started to falter, diba? So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think number one is the culture that Coach Chris will develop in UE. Will it be as fast as Coach Topex did in LaSalle? Or will it be a slower grind? Much like Coach Pido in UST. Will he have the leash to develop a program and culture, or if they struggle right off the bat, will he get axed? I think that's one of the main questions heading into season 88. And finally, yung connection nila with Film Nation, how will that be utilized? Diba? I think si Coach Alex Cabagnot, it's weird calling him coach. Si Alex Cabagnot is part of the coaching staff along with some of the old UE Red Warrior players. So it's interesting to see, will they attract more Phil-Am talents into the lineup or Phil foreigners into the lineup? We all know that si Cabagnot has a big involvement in Phil-Am Nation. So that's a welcome development if you're a program like UE, diba? You can easily market your team as a land of opportunity. Diba? It's not like teams like Ateneo, LaSalle, UP, or even UST who can promise you probably a quick payout but not guaranteed playing time and usage. But when you go to a team like UE, you have the chance to be that number one guy, which has been the case for a number of people. I think that's one of the main reasons why si John Abate also did not transfer schools. Diba? Kasi if you transfer to another school, then you don't know what your role is. At least right now, he knows what's in front of him.
Wala na rin
siyang
8 years,
eligibility din.
Wala na rin siya kahit NCAA. So, but I think that's one of the main reasons why players like Abate decide to stay. And hopefully we see, less one and dones for UE. Kasi puro one and dones, meaning not just the players that play one season and are eligible for one season, but players who play one season and transfer to another school also. Diba? So we want continuity. I think that's where they have to build up on. We want a consistent program, diba? That's the recipe for success in the UAAP. It's very rare to see teams being one and done successful teams, diba? You have to have a build up. You have to be consistently good. Sam.
Maui, you brought up a good point, no, about si Precious Momoway, about turnovers and being inefficient. Another thing I'm watching with Precious is how does he handle double teams? Kasi last season, actually, yun lang ginagawa ng mga teams sa kanya. They just throw double teams at him and he doesn't know what to do. He really struggles when teams try to double team him, trap him. He can't find his open teammates. He doesn't know what to do when multiple defenders are thrown at him. Let's see how he responds in this offseason because he's gonna be doubled also. I mean, if you match up against an NCAA team in the preseason, they don't have FSAs, they don't have guys as big as him. They're gonna throw double teams. Let's see how he responds to that. Let's see how he plays off of his teammates, gets his teammates open because important yun eh. You can't just have an easy game plan for the opposing team na okay, just double team me and I will turn the ball over automatically. Because essentially, yun yung nangyari sa kanya the whole season 87. Every time he was doubled, it was either a bad shot or a turnover. Hindi naman palagi, pero consistently, yun yung nangyayari sa UE offense. No? And Precious has to respond better. He has to play better than that. Sammy?
Not much to add for UE. I think for me, sa players, it's more or less the same players from the previous season. So if I'm watching out for something this preseason, it's really Coach Chris Gavina and the coaching staff. Kasi sila yung bago. How will they run this new UE team? And also, I'm looking forward to the recruits. Na-mention mo, like, yung connection with Phil Nation. How, we can't, sabi nyo nga, di ba, when there's a new coach, parang it's hard to judge that coach dun sa first season niya. More like sa second season siya pwede i-judge because of like recruitment. Recruitment takes time, di ba? So, actually, I'm looking forward to like his recruits. Reading about yung mga recruits na makuha niya this season. Maybe he'll get some that will be eligible this coming season. Maybe the rest will be for next season. But that's something I'm looking forward to. In terms of players, I think John Nabate has to be a guy that we look out for or watch out for. We were high on him last season. We really liked him, but for some reason, he did not get enough playing time, especially the second half of the season. So, hopefully, he does get to play this season. So far, so good. Si John Abate at si Rainier Maga, the two picks of Gab for that top 5 guard and wing position. Stay tuned for the other episodes of that. Baka may pick pa si Gab from UE. We'll find out. Moving on. Let's talk about the defending champions, the UP Fighting Maroons.
Ibahin naman natin, Sam. Ikaw naman mag-start. Bilang isang isko, ikaw naman mag-start sa UP.
I think for me, for UP, first of all, we've talked about him, one of the best point guards in the UAAP. We have to talk about Remo Goat. We haven't seen him for the entire season 87. So, what has he developed? From what we're hearing, he's been really good. Maui, sabi mo nga, he's been cooking even professionals in the KBL. To the point na supposedly he's being recruited to play abroad na, diba? So, I'm excited to see what how Remogat will look like in a UP Fighting Maroons uniform playing for UP. But siguro the other one would be how do they replace how do they fill in the center position? Kasi may big hole doon by Quintin Melora Brown, and Lastal still has Mike Phillips, who is we've talked about it in the previous episode, probably the top contender for MVP this coming season. And the only kryptonite of Mike Phillips other than his free throws was QMB. So ngayong wala ng QMB yung UP, how do they sort of match up with LaSalle if they face LaSalle again in the finals, which is a high probability, di ba? We haven't seen much from UP sa mga preseason games. Ako personally, wala pa ako napapanood, but a lot of friends from UP keep asking me the same question or the same thing. Sino ipapalit natin kay QMB? They have a lot of big men, but the problem is, guys like Sean Alter, they didn't get to play last season. We're expecting them to play last season, but they didn't. They dominated last preseason. Pagdating nung UAAP season 87, wala. They just couldn't play or couldn't get minutes. So, that's the big question for me for UP is the center position. Kasi the rest, solid pa rin. You still have Francis Lopez. You replace Kagulangan with Remogat. The NU boys are still there for their final year, diba? We talked about Alarcon, Jerry Abadiano as potential top guards or wings in the entire UAAP. So they're really stacked. Yung center position talaga yung big question mark for me. And we know UP, may tinatago yan. May surprise yan for everyone. May pasabog yan. Maybe we don't know yet. So that's something I'm looking out for. Maui, why don't you go next?
Very good points, especially on the big man. I think yun yung first and foremost, diba? I think that's where everyone is looking at right now. Hindi na underrated si QMB kasi lahat ng tao is talking about that. But we saw last off-season that the bigs are capable, diba? Before QMB arrived, the bigs were dominating during the off-season. Sean Alter was breaking out. Gary Stevens was the usual self. They were able to match up with LaSalle. I think beat them twice in the offseason without QMB. So they're capable. They're more than capable. I think they should grasp this opportunity. Barring any last minute big man additions. Baka mamaya may Phil-Am ulit na one and done ipasok ng UP. I don't know if there is a big man with the magnitude of QMB, a Phil-Am to bring in the Philippines. Another thing to look at is yung FSA slot, diba? Will they retain their FSA or will they go another route? From what I've been hearing right now, it looks like that they will be retaining their FSA so far from what they've seen in the off-season. But anything can happen, diba? Remember, as we mentioned, we're not even halfway through the off-season right now. So, Seven Gagate is also fully healthy from what I've heard. No news on Josh Coronel.
Nakalimutan ko na si Seven Gagate.
Another big man. Another promising big man from the juniors division who was also Gila's mainstay. But UP has all the tools. I think they are the favorites. I would say for the end of season, they are the number one favorites for the championship for this season. I'm looking at that power forward slot. It's going to be Belmonte and Lopez exclusively. No more Torculas. I would think that they would still miss Torculas, but they were able to withstand that, diba, from last season when Torculas couldn't play meaningful minutes because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So will we see a breakout season from Belmonte or will we see another level of Francis Lopez? That's another thing to look out for. I think yung guard slots are basically locked in. It would be crazy if Alarcon and Abadiano loses consistent minutes for next season. I'm curious to see how Baila also performs in year 2. Diba? Kasi he's a very versatile guard who can basically do everything. Score, defend, play make, hit the three. I would like to see development niya because I think he could have a future in Gilas with his size and talent. But really for UP, it's basically the same guys. Diba? We're waiting for bombs to explode this off-season. Whether it be transfers, internal transfers. I don't know if players like Chico Briones are thinking about transferring. I don't know if they have other guys, other prospects. Diba? Kasi they have other players coming in like Miguel Iniguez. Diba? They have a ton of recruits also coming in. Not even yung recruits that haven't been announced, diba? I'm sure within the next few months or even weeks, we will get a better grasp of what rotation UP will run, what 16-man deep, I have to repeat it, deep rotation UP will have come season 88, diba? Kasi they have had basically the deepest lineup in the UAAP for probably the past 2 seasons. Everyone is capable to step up. They just have to be in the right situation and the right time. But let's see. Basically, they have the inside track to repeat for next season. Diba? They are without a doubt the favorites because they lost Kagulangan, they got Rimogat. Now they also have a ton of replacements, diba? for QMB. It's not like Lasal where they are gonna be employing a completely different offensive scheme probably for next season without Kevin Kiambao and with those 2-point guards. So a lot of more other teams have a lot more questions to answer. UP has to be more consistent, I think, in my opinion. They can just dominate and maybe Coach Gold decides, I don't want the number 1 slot for next season. Let's play some other guys and let's just beat them in the finals. Let's see.
Yeah, yung tama si Maui. This is essentially the same team, no? Remogat just replaced JD. That's it. And as with you, Sam, I'm excited to watch Noy Remogat again. If you guys recall, season 86, I was one of the biggest fans of Remogoat. Season 85, nung bandang dulo, we were like, what the hell? You had this guy? Diba? Why?
Yeah.
How was he buried in the bench for the first 12
Against
games?
Ateneo pa, yung one of his debut games.
Diba? For season 85, first 12 games, where was he? And then last 2 games of the season, bilang sumabog si Noy Remogat. And now, he's in UP. I wonder what type of usage he's gonna have. UP does not play the same way as UE. You know, he's not gonna have the ball in his hands all the time. He's gonna have to share the spotlight with guys like Alarcon, Lopez, Alter, Torres, Abadiano, Fortea. A lot of mouths to feed in that UP rotation. So how is he gonna play? I'm very curious. What's his role? How do you say it? Yung balance nila ni Harold Alarcon. What's gonna be that? Is Harold just gonna whenever Noy Remogat is in the game, is Harold just gonna take a step back and just
Your
sit
turn,
in
my
the corner?
turn, ba?
Oh, is it because ganun sila ni JD yung last season, it was your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. And for the most part, when JD was on the court, it was mostly yung JD yung running the show. Si Harold was just standing somewhere, you know, not doing much. But when JD was off the floor, si Harold yung gagawa. So is that gonna be the dynamic between Noy Remogat and Harold Alarcon? Very curious to see that in the off season. The center spot, Sammy, as you said, for me is probably the only spot in the lineup that's has a bit of a sort of a question mark, because as Maui said, we saw the other centers perform naman yung last off season. Let's see who can stand out, or is Coach Gold still gonna run a 3-headed center rotation? Actually, 4 na dahil nandiyan na si 7 Gagate. No, 7 Gagate is not gonna play power forward. Wag yun na pilitin, please. There's Lopez, there's Belmonte, there's gonna be Iniguez also, there's gonna be L.A. Andres. There's no way he's playing power forward. He has shown no flashes that he can play power forward. Okay, so no, stop it. He's not playing power forward. He's gonna be center, and he's probably gonna be the fourth center in that rotation behind si Udodo, Stevens, and Alter, and baka si Nokura yung makapasok pa. I don't know. Essentially. So, who stands out in the center spot? Stevens, Alter, if he can get his confidence back, because in his limited playing time, he looked like a lost man in season 87. Can Can we get the same Sean Alter that we saw in Phil Oil last season? Hopefully we can. Sana. I mean, this guy was pretty good when he played in the off season. So hopefully we can get that. Who backs up Francis Lopez? Is it gonna be Mark Belmonte, or are we gonna see someone leapfrog yung Belmonte in the rotation without Torculas? Maybe si Iniguez. I liked what I've seen from Iniguez. Or is the returning L.A. Andres finally gonna suit up and get some minutes? Another guy that I'm watching for, and I'm sure si Maui na yun nakalimutan na nga, Josh Coronel. Is he finally suiting up? Is he finally playing? Is he finally healthy? This guy was a Gilas star. Everyone wanted a piece of this guy because of his athletic ability and the promise that he showed coming out of high school. Is he finally playing? And is there rotation minutes available for him? Can he leapfrog a guy like Torres or even Baila? Because he plays at the wing and UP already has wings. So he has to leapfrog someone. Let's see, no? He sat out two seasons already. I don't see him getting big minutes unless he just puts Baila, Torres, or someone on the bench. So interesting to watch that. They are the most intact team. We know their guys already, but they do have some guys that are vying for some additional playing time. So that's interesting to watch in the off season.
Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about the last team, the first ever Pinoy Liga Global Invitationals champion, the UST Growling Tigers. Gab, since naka-yellow ka, why don't you talk about UST first?
Another team na halos pareho lang. Yun, literally halos pareho lang sila. Siguro the only key rotation guy that they lost was Christian Manaytay. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And he's a very important guy actually. He was one of their main offensive weapons. So how are they gonna replace that? But I think si Jello Crisostomo is ready to take on a bigger role. We've seen flashes of this guy have an offensive game, get some mid-range and outside shooting. He's very athletic. Coach Pedol loves to put him on bigger guys. He's an emergency center in case si Tongkara got in foul trouble yung last season. So I think he's ready to take on majority of that power forward role. The center spot, the FSA spot, is where it gets really interesting because in the Pinoy Liga,
I agree.
It's Peter Osak. Where is Mo Tongkara? Mo Tongkara was in line to be probably the best FSA or battling for it with Mo Konate. What happened? There's been a ton of rumors, nothing confirmed. We have not seen him play in a UST jersey so far.
UST fans, comment down below kung may insider info kayo.
What do you know? Just give us some tips. Where is Mo Tongkara? Is he still the FSA for season 8-8? This guy was pretty good. Had good chemistry with Fortsky, with Nick Caballero. Essentially a matchup problem for traditional centers because he is a wing. He plays a center, but he is a wing. No? Peter Osang has been, he's not a scrub. He's still pretty damn good, but he's not Mo Tongkara. He doesn't have the wing skills of Mo Tongkara. So I'm interested just if he ever suits up for UST. I will be watching UST games just to see, is Mo Tongkara there behind the bench? Is Mo Tongkara actually suiting up? Because their ceiling is higher with Mo.
Yeah.
Mo is a pretty good player. He's a pretty good player, has a ton of skills that UST will miss if he does not suit up for season 8-8. So, very interesting. And the backup, there's another team that lacks backup bigs because apparently Zayn Mahmood was a bust in season 87. Let's see if he can improve. in season 88. Can he actually get on the court? He does. Coach Pido probably does not want to play him a lot. He prefers Eco Laure, and if you prefer Eco Laure, that's gonna be bad because that was their problem. The front court was their problem against LaSalle, against UP. When Motongkara was out, they got eaten alive. No one could match up with the likes of QMB, Francis Lopez, even si Decachi Ododo nag-feast nga against the bench front court of UST. So they need to shore up that front court. I don't know. Is Koji Buenaflor eligible already to play the seniors division? I'm not sure if he's their big guy in the juniors division. Hopefully they do get him in. Sila Waki, Ludovice. I'm blanking on the other guys who played on their championship team. But their championship team has a ton of young guys. So hopefully they can bring them up from the juniors division. Hopefully hindi nila susundan si Doy Dungo and go to the SAL. But yeah, they have a ton of young prospects in their juniors, in their boys team pala. Sorry, hindi na pala juniors. Yung in their boys team. Let's see if they can actually shore up their front court. But the guard and wing rotation seems to be the same as last season. No? Amiel Acido, Fortsky, Kyle Paranada, Mark Liemit, Ice Danting, mukhang same pa rin, no? It's the front court that's the big question. That's it for UST. They're still gonna be contenders for season 88. I do believe that. With the season under their belt for this core group, I do expect that they're gonna contend for a championship. Maui.
Si Tongkara, Sam, remember, we saw in the UAP finals. LaSalle versus UP. So, I don't know where he is. But that was one of the things that we talked about that UP had to do, diba, during the end of last season. They had to retain Mo Tongkara, diba? And I don't know if that's still gonna be the case. Si Coach Pido continues to be hunted by these FSAs, diba? Buti pa si Karim Abdul, diba, very loyal sa kanya before. Ngayon, may isa na wala after one game, may isa baka mawala after one season. So, I don't know, but Tongkara, losing Tongkara would really destroy yung chances ng yung UST. I really think they have the biggest chance for this season if they retain the services of Tongkara, diba? You want continuity in your lineup, diba? And you're basically slotting in Jello Crisostomo, who was also a rotational piece from last season, diba? So, hirap that they have to, I don't know, si Peter Osang has very big shoes to fill if he's gonna be the man to replace him. You mentioned big guys, Gab. I remembered lang that they had a 6'10" guy, so I had to Google si Brix Versosa.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Will he get 5 minutes finally a game? Do we see some glimpse of that 6'10" guy for this season? But I think yung chances talaga ng UST is tied down to the FSA slot, number 1. And number 2, the development of the wing guys. I think Lemit and Acido will decide where they go. Kasi you know what you're gonna get with Paranada, Caballero, and Fortsky. Diba? These 3 guys are proven guys. Fortsky and Paranada have played for 2 different teams, and you've basically gotten mostly the same things from them. Paranada scoring and yung lift off the bench, Padrigao, vertical team level, point guard, playmaking, and scoring. So it's gonna really depend on the development of these 2 guys. I think very good that si Lemit was the second top scorer, I think, of the Pinoy Liga final. Ang ganda ng development ni Mark Lemit. I think si Gabas has mentioned this also in our previous episodes from last season. Diba? And he's a typical wing, I think, to thrive in a Pidorenzo system, because I think he can play 2-3-4 for UST. He has the strength, he has the speed. Maybe not the height to play the 4, but Coach Pido sometimes opts to go for this small ball lineups, which is why I really believe very critical ang FSA slot for UST, diba? But for any team for that matter, we've been saying on this podcast for maybe the past 2 or 3 seasons, 2 slots, FSA big man / big man or point guard slot. most valuable slots in the lineup, diba? We saw how a team like NU and Ateneo struggled in season 87. Ateneo not having consistent FSA and NU losing their FSA. Diba? NU from potentially a title contender to a cellar dweller team. Diba? It's very crucial to have a good big man, especially if you have guys like Mike Phillips who can put up 30 points and 25 rebounds. If you don't have, diba? If
Don't
you don't
remind
have,
us, Maui. Don't remind us. I'm still
it's
having
still ano,
nightmares, Mike.
it's still going in my head. Diba?
40
What
points pa
Phillips
nga
did
kung na-shoot lang niya yung
if
mga
you hit
free
the free
throws niya.
throws. Diba? Especially if you have big man who can dominate like that, diba? So it's very critical to not get to not to have the pieces to not get bullied in the UAAP because teams are more smart right now than they were 10 15 years ago, diba? When they see a mismatch, they will go to that the whole game, diba? It's a reason why players like Amos also struggled to play 30 minutes in Ateneo before. They will go at you when you have a weakness. But let's see where UST is, diba? I'm usually the more optimistic guy when you talk about UST, but it's hard to be optimistic when you don't know what's happening in the inside, diba? It's not a good sign that Tungkara is missing, but still they've been able to get championships in preseason tournament, so that's a welcome sight. I actually expect Siportsky to have a big year. I don't know, with 1 year under his belt and all of the pressure gone. Diba? Kasi last year, I think the pressure was too much also for Fortsky after all that off-season, after all of that off-court issues that he had to go through with Ateneo. Let's see how he does with 1 year under his belt in UST. I hope no more off-court issues. I think he's the number one player for Fortsky because I think he has the potential to get to the KBL. Diba? We've been saying this since he made the mythical team in Ateneo. So hopefully he's more efficient. Hopefully he doesn't he reverts back to a more efficient gameplay and less of those 35 footers, 30 footers. I don't want to see a lot of
Based
that.
on their Pinoy Liga game, mukhang he's still taking them, Maui.
Still taking them.
Pero
Well,
nasushoot naman.
hopefully a more efficient season coming for Fortsky. I love how he reads the defense, diba? Gab and all three of us were raving. I think in one of the games that we watched live, that Fortsky just broke the game wide open with this how he
Against
Versus
NU.
NU.
versus
Yeah,
NU. How he was able to break down NU's defense, and that's not easy considering NU is known for their defense. So yeah, still despite it all, I think at the very least UST is a Final Four contender. The question is if they can get to that championship contender level for next season. And I don't know if Peter Osang is the guy.
I agree. I think yung...
Si Adama Faye daw ibabalik.
Talaga?
Napaka-plot twist nun kung biglang siya yung naging FSA. No?
Siya pa yung napili no?
The prodigal son returns.
Prodigal son. Yun na yung nickname niya, The Prodigal Son. Anyway, I do agree. Yung FSA yung biggest problem. Marami tayong naririnig na chismis about it. But sabi nila hindi totoo. But Peter Osang is playing in Pinoy Liga. So, makes you wonder, makes you think, diba? Other than that, I think among the role players, for me, Jello Crisostomo is the guy that I'm looking out for. He has really good size. He's athletic, tall, big guy who can play 4 and 5. He showed flashes of yung skill niya. Last season, I think he dominated Ateneo who didn't have a single big man. Siguro for me, I want to see more. So I thought he would break out last season, pero it wasn't consistent. So for me, I want to see more consistency from him this preseason. Maybe he gets scores more for the team. I think nung Pinoy Liga Finals, he scored in double digits and shot the 3. So if he can be a consistent 3-point shooter, something na Christian Manaytay never really developed. mas mid-range lang si Manaytay, I think he would be better than Manaytay. He's like the obvious replacement for Manaytay in terms of like that 4 position, diba? So, Crisostomo for me, obviously, uh, Mark Lemit is also a guy worth mentioning, tsaka si Amel Asido, just because Mark Lemit was the one of the biggest surprises, would you say, Gab, nung last season, kasi he was not there during the preseason, pero out of nowhere in his first game, he was really good, and he was one of the more consistent guys for UST last season. So something look out for. And na-mention mo rin, Gab, I'm surprised na-mention mo siya, si Zayn Mahmood. Kasi I'm hoping Zayn Mahmood and Alex Konov break out soon. Kasi these are the Gilas guys, di ba? Ito sure tayo eligible din sila. So I do hope that they get their chance and develop as future stars of their team. So yun lang.
Koji Buenaflor. Watch
Koji
out for that
Buenaflor.
guy.
Yeah.
Koji Buenaflor.
But if I were to pick one, Jello Crisostomo for me for UST.
Kala ko sabihin mo, Eco Laure.
I still love Ecolare, don't get me wrong. But that's it. That's it for today's episode. So we talked about all 8 teams, things to watch out for this preseason. Please comment down below your thoughts and tell us what you're looking out for your team, and if we're missing out on a certain player or recruit, let us know. Kwenta ka lang sa comment section. We love reading your comments and replying to them. We'll do more content like this all throughout the preseason. So please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.